Feel the beat, feel the vibe. Amazing host leading the ride. Power to the people, we shine. Giving fans what they need. Caribbean spirit, let's succeed. Every show with a good deed. Together we plant the seed. Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the host, we belong. Energy high, heart so bright. Tune in, feel the light. Global love taking flight. Every ride a sheer delight. Making waves across the seas. Love and joy in the breeze. Ride along live if you please. Bringing hope with such ease. Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the host, we belong. Energy high, heart so bright. Tune in, feel the light. Global love taking flight. Every ride a sheer delight. Making waves across the seas. Love and joy in the breeze. Ride along live if you please. Bringing hope with such ease. Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the host, we belong.
$10 on Playway, $20 backup on Pick 3, and cash for each, please.
Okay, are you adding multi-X to your bet?
Yes, multi-X, all of them.
Smart! Best value bet. Backup and multi-X, you cannot go wrong.
Don't matter the bet, multi-X all of the daily games.
With multi-X added, your winnings can be multiplied 3 times, 5 times, even 7 times. So make it a rule. Add multi-X to all your Playway, daily Pick 3, and daily cash for bets every day and for every drop, and watch your money grow. Available at stores and online.
You heard it here.
Are you a progressive young leader, a proactive emerging executive, a rising professional? Then you need appropriate cover for your vehicle. Introducing the Pro Motor Plan from Beacon. Car insurance that includes free loss of use, windscreen cover up to $3,500, free special perils, free accident forgiveness. Get Beacon's Pro Motor Plan today. Don't procrastinate. Call Beacon today at 440-4447 or visit beacongrenada.com.
Right along live. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Monday on the ride. Yes. And yes, guys. I am still here. Beautiful Grenada, the spice isle of the Caribbean, pure Grenada. Guys, listen. I just want to say thanks to some of our dedicated riders. Boy, let me tell all you something. I don't know that if there's any other platform that have dedicated viewers and supporters like the riders. Guys, you are amazing. Amazing. That's why I feel like I could venture into anything and it would be successful, because I think that the riders, you guys really support, whether it's me or other riders. We had an incident that happened last week and I spoke about it just briefly, and the overwhelming support that was shown to a fellow rider, I'm like, yo, you guys really get it. Lacey J, how you doing? You guys really get it, man. Let me tell you something. You understand the assignment. That's what it's about, It's about support. So it might be a situation where someone might be ill today, might be sick, might need some assistance, and they could always rely on help. So that's like what we always say, paying it forward. And I thank you guys. Pick up all yourself. Pick up all yourself, riders. Joseline, thank you so much. Absolutely. what is it? Natanya? Yes! The riders are the best. Tag a friend, tag somebody, guys. And you guys know that over the past couple of years, we started a new venture, which is the Ride Excursion. And let me tell you all this something. The amount of support that the riders show Ride, this particular company now, I mean, we are soaring. We are soaring, and it's because of the dedicated riders. I gotta say thank you guys so much. And we have to, you can't take these things and let me start back with it. You can't take this thing and for granted, eh? You can't take this thing for granted. True love. Happy birthday to Annie Bernard. How are you doing? Happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. You're celebrating today. Vern, thank you so much. So Annie, do something nice for yourself. Yes. Jennifer Lawrence, thank you for sharing it. All right, so at followers, everybody, because today we're going to have a conversation. I'm really going to press in on this conversation because the PRO of the NDC, Ron Redhead, Honorable Ron Redhead, is here. Now, I'm hearing, my producer was telling me that there are a lot of things that the public should know. And Honorable Ron Redhead is here to talk about it, right? A lot of things. I've been hearing about a particular filing in the Integrity Commission. And I'm hoping that I'm going to press the PRO on this, the party's position on what these allegations mean from a political point of view and what's their response. What is the party's response to this allegation? We also heard about certain things as it relates to the Integrity Commission. We're going to find out about that as well. In addition, we've been hearing certain information circulating through the grapevine about the Bokeh playing field project, right? And again, we're going to speak about it because there's no holds bar here on Ride Along Live. And as always, the same opportunity that we give to Member of Parliament, Honorable Ron Redhead, is the same we offer to any political organization. I can't say that enough. We extend the opportunity to any such political organization to come in and let's have this conversation. And as you know, your host is always very respectful to all of our guests, and we expect and appreciate your respect shown to them as well. All right, enough said. Let's get it on. Today, we have with us the Honorable Ron Redhead, who is the MP for that area. I was just up there, Annandale Fall, that whole area, Willis area right there. And of course, he's a Member of Parliament and also the PRO of the NDC. Honorable Ron Redhead, thank you so much. How are you doing today, sir?
Yes, Honorable Junior George. I am
I don't know. I don't get that. But no, you want to put me in Copper Belly Cross. I ain't getting enough concert last week yet, eh?
Yes, man. I'm doing very well. Good afternoon to you. I am chiming in from the lovely St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Oh, really?
Yes. I am at the OECS Assembly, attending that tomorrow, God's will, 7th session. And so looking forward to it. And I would be back sometime later on this week to continue the good work in St. George Northeast.
St. George Northeast is my place. Let me tell you, I took a group over the weekend. We had a group from Sandals, about 12, 15 guests from Sandals. They rented out the whole fleet of tuk-tuks, and they said they wanted to go to Annandale Fall. And we went up to your area there. They patronized all the vendors at the Annandale. I mean, it was so amazing, and they didn't want to leave. They got in the water and they did not want to leave.
Yeah.
Massage and everything. It was awesome. Beautiful place, Willis. I love it so much. My producer from that area too, you know.
Yeah, well, it's a Willis thing.
Yeah, it's a Willis thing. She's bad for it. All right, MP, we have a lot to talk about. I don't even know where I should start with this conversation. First, I'll talk about your constituency, right? What is happening right now in St. George Northeast? Tell us about your constituency. What is taking place?
Right. Well, we are approaching our peak or climax, so to speak, with a lot of the flood mitigation projects. So far, what I've been doing is to, as Member of Parliament, in conjunction with the Ministry of Infrastructure, Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, Transformation, and also with a volunteer, Mr. Neville Bain, who happens to be one of the contractors in St. George Northeast. He's volunteered his time to serve on my management committee to give support and assistance and guidance and advice on major projects to be undertaken in St. George Northeast that can help in my personal, as Member of Parliament, quest to reduce flooding in the constituency of St. George Northeast. So we are approaching the peak. We are launching almost, I don't want to exaggerate, but about 11 new projects should be commencing between now and by the half of July 2025. Again, ably managed under the Ministry of Infrastructure and ably supervised under the Ministry of MIT. So I am going into high gear with that. We are completing training and we have announced a new pilot again. What we've been doing is completing all of these pilots. So by the time the second term comes, we would be in a better position to be able to roll out in a sustainable manner key training initiatives that are continuing to address some of the gaps and deficiencies in our employment situation in the constituency, certainly at the local level, and then hopefully nationally. In addition to that, we are in high gear in terms of giving assistance, particularly with education and training. And the sports season is on as well, so we've been doing some of that. So far it has been very busy at my office. We go generally sometimes all during the weekends we're working. It depends on what the event is, and we continue to serve the beautiful people of St. George Northeast as best as we can. Everybody who comes in and is in need of help, they get help. So as Member of Parliament, there's no color, certainly through my lens and my office lens, we try to ensure that as best as possible, we are targeting people who desperately need support. As Member of Parliament as well, I have supporters who are National Democratic Congress supporters who I look after whenever I can. And so long as they are Grenadian, they deserve to benefit just like anybody else in what the government, based on policy, is giving. So things are going well in St. George Northeast.
Right. Let's talk about contracts and disbursement of contracts. I hear you speak about so many different things happening in your constituency. What is the process of obtaining contracts, and how is it procured? How is that done?
Right. So once a project is costing over 100,000, it has to go to procurement. And this is normally done through the Ministry of Infrastructure. Contractors would be able to go directly and do the bidding and follow all the official processes. Smaller projects, which we have community development funds for, we can be able to facilitate those. And those that are costing under 100,000, certainly we can assist. In the past, there was a ceiling, so to speak, of about $15,000. And given the exponential rise in aggregates, certainly from since COVID-19 to now, there is not any value in $15,000 being awarded to fix a drain when all you would be doing is putting a little plaster over a major wound, for example. And in St. George Northeast, we have undertaken, as mentioned earlier on, key flood mitigation projects that we are convinced will be able to reduce the issue of flooding, improve road access, among other things, throughout the constituency. And therefore, we need to ensure that as best as possible, we are costing projects in accordance with what they really are and following all rules. So that is the basic principle. The last thing is that we want quality and qualified builders. And so, yes, I have friends who would have done small projects and so on in the past for the former administration, but in some instances, it's not up to standard. And therefore, we have developed at St. George Northeast level, Member of Parliament level, a rubric, so to speak, so that contractors, when they come in and they are presenting proposals to do projects, they can do it at the highest quality standard. And so that's really the process. Again, you have to go through the Ministry of Infrastructure, and in some instances, you can register with the Ministry of MIT.
Right. Okay. I wanted to get that clear because last week we had this very Sorry, my camera is blurry. It'll come back. We had this lengthy conversation as it relates to the procurement of contracts. It's a very controversial topical issue right now. So I wanted to understand that process. So you're saying below 100,000, it doesn't have to go to the procurement process, regular
No.
procurement process. Was that recently changed?
Um, well, the figure, because prior it would have been $15,000, doesn't have to go through procurement. But again, what this is saying is that, and it's not sole sourcing as some may try to agree on, because essentially for these projects to be done, Junior, again, you need a qualified builder to do them. And if a project is costing $80,000, you won't
Right.
give a skilled person $80,000 in their hand. And nobody is giving you the money directly. So you won't get the cash up front as existed in the past with the past administration. You have to do and complete your stages and phases. In some instances, you get cash to fund a phase. In other instances, you have to complete the phase and then you get paid. So there's a process, and the Ministry of Finance goes through the process. You have the procurement once it's exceeding over $100,000.
So everything goes through the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
the process, right?
yeah. It's no. Members of Parliament, ministers of government do not pay a contractor, nor do we sign any agreement with the contractor. What we can do is to advise a contractor to go in to the ministry so that they could make a bid for a project or two. That's the most we can do. And this time in memorial has been ongoing.
Right. What if the project is not performing or is not in the stage or not performing as it should? Like the contractor might not be completing the project in a timely fashion, or there are some holdups or some whatever slacking off on the project. What happens then? What?
Yeah, so the Ministry of Works can either apply some pressure directly to the contractor to complete his work, or in some instances, they can be able to terminate a contract due to non-performance and other breaches.
Right. Right. Hold on one second. I just had to change camera lens. If you could tell us a little bit. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's okay. So that's a process, and essentially that process has been in operation for a very long time. But I can't tell you for a fact that it was practiced prior. I know under this administration, we are doing our best to say if somebody is not doing a good job, we would either take the contract from them, so to speak, and I'm using that language directly because that's the expression that is normally used, but there's a process again to do that, where you would just pay the contractor for the work that he did, and then you engage another contractor to finish or complete whatever. And we have had to do this in maybe about 2 or 3 instances since I hold the position of Member of Parliament for St. George Northeast.
So the process is very clear. It's very open. It's very clear. It's very precise. Everybody knows what's happening. I mean, in this environment that we live in, I think that it's important that we clarify everything down to the bit size, the smallest size, right? So in that way, was it done differently way in the past? Because let's look at a project like, I know we're speaking about, I heard about it to the grapevine, about the Bokeh playing field project where over $350,000 was spent. What is the process of what's happening there? Clarify that. Help me understand that.
Right. So that project, Junior, and I'm going to dive into, I'm going to call some names, but I would retract the first name of the 2 other individuals, but I am only going to call the project contractor's name. Right. That project, based on what we have by way of information, for example, did not go through any tendering process. There is not a set amount that was specific to what the project quantum would be from start to finish, what it would take to complete the project. That's 2. And 3, that project started in February in terms of disbursements. Right. So in February of 2022, Mr. Moses Scott, project contractor, received $36,524. In April of 2022, Mr. Moses Scott again received $44,776.47. In May of 2022, same Mr. Moses Scott received $145,000, and it was labeled as additional costs, right? So, and you have to draw the parallels, right? Election was in June. This amount was disbursed in May. Then November of 2022, that's after the government changed, we did look into this project. We were not satisfied at all based on the quality that we have seen. And in some instances, the drain that was built through the project is a mosquito hub up in Bokeh, and it was not designed properly. There was no evidence of any design taking place, no EIA, nothing of the sort. The road was damaged in terms of having vehicles actually passing on the pasture or the playing field, and so this was done. But what we were able to discover further, Junior, which is the interesting part, is that in January 2022, in addition to the project contractor receiving that monies, that sums of money, in January 2022, Mr. A. Lewis Services received $21,370.25. In February of 2022, same project, Mr. A. Lewis Services received $4,053.75. And then to add insult to injury, in February 2022, Mr. K. Joseph received $3,200. Again, this is related to the same project. There is no, at least there is nothing saying that it's separate, because it's all under one project. And these are the costs that we have associated with the Bokeh playing field project, which did not go through any tendering, which in particular was disbursed under, well, through the Ministry of Sports. This work was commenced then, and the payments were being made from NNA. Right? So that's the information that we have. Now, note well, I am not accusing anyone. I am putting this information out there because people have been speculating about it. And it is clear to me that in this instance, there are more questions than there are answers. So at this point, what I'm saying is that while some people talking about money here, money there, and so on with projects, the evidence in the past does not support quote unquote good practice. And we've had a lot of wastage, and this is only one of many. I wouldn't get into any other, but I call the names because I have the evidence. And so I would not be like others. I'm not an activist looking for ranks or clout. This is a serious concern. I am the member of parliament, and I have raised this issue as the minister. This is why we investigated the matter. And today I can announce or say what the investigation so far has turned up by way of the money. Now, whether or not this is going to be taken to another level, it's always here or there with these things. One of the active politicians who was on the opposition side once said to me on a sidebar that this is Grenada, and no politician, it doesn't matter if they hold office or doesn't hold office, will ever be penalized. But we in the National Democratic Congress do not agree with that. And I think sometimes we need to hold people accountable. When some people talk about wasting the country's money, they must be held accountable for doing just that.
What about people that would say, well, you bringing this up now to just create a smokescreen, a distraction?
No.
For what is
so I want to, right. And I want to respond to that, because as it relates to the allegations that was bandied about last 2 weeks by a particular individual against Minister Andy Williams, I want to say that I have done my own investigation as public relations officer. We have been able to acquire all information that even was submitted to the Integrity Commission. And we have concluded that there is no substantive evidence. No one would be able to come out and say that they have evidence of any bribe. So that is totally false. We are treating it like that. We stand 100% behind the General Secretary, Mr. Andy Williams, and we are satisfied that our own internal investigation has concluded that this is not factual at all. And so we can deal with it in that light. It is only rumors.
So you're saying, the guys, that's a lot, and that's even breaking news. We should have like a ticker at the bottom. This is breaking news information. It's a lot to digest here. First, the project, the Bokeh playing field project. Now we're talking about this. Now I don't want to jump around the place too much. I want to go back to the Bokeh playing field thing. But you're saying that the information that was even shared here on Ride Along Live, where the individual called in and stated categorically that there are evidence to substantiate the claim of bribery. You're saying that based on the evidence that you collected from the Integrity Commission and others, there are no credible proof to back that up?
Correct. Absolutely none. And in fact, it's only hearsay. And Junior, I want to say this, that in the past 3 years, we have seen an insatiable appetite by opponents of the government to get into the personal information of sitting ministers of government, to try to use that and juxtaposition to say there is some evidence that we take in the country's money and so on. Now, I want to make a distinction. Information is not evidence to corruption. That's one. So
Right.
if someone enters into a legitimate deal, business deal, whether they are a politician or not, once the evidence is not clear that there is some wrongdoing or hanky-panky, and let's not pretend. This is the Caribbean. We know how this issue operates with people about corruption and all these other things in public life. So I am saying to you that in this day and age, where you have all this public scrutiny, where you have all these evidences out and about in terms of what is available for people, that this in particular, there are protocols that we would have to follow. And similarly, we file with the Integrity Commission. But the question is, even if we file, Junior, what happens to that information, right? So it is not a case where somebody could say categorically, this person is X, Y, and Z. And I'll give you a stark example. A particular individual went to one of his friends at the Royal Grenadier Police Force and took my driver's license, the picture of it, got that sent to them, and started posting that all over social media, right? Now, I didn't engage in any lawsuit to anyone. I didn't interfere with anybody, and I don't have the appetite nor interest for that. That's one. But two, I'm saying there is this thirst to try to go after people who are engaged in legitimate things. And it is something that I think we need to deal with. What we need to be talking about now is the privacy of someone's personal information, whether
Right.
they are engaged with it at a bank or whether they engage with it through a government institution or otherwise. And so that is what the conversation has to be about, not come up with these flimsy allegations and come to try to make some smoke screen and distract the administration from the hard work that it's doing. Because I want to get into the question of the economy in as we have this conversation. So I'm saying to you that as it stands right now, what we are observing is just malicious, petty, empty allegations trying to make some case to penalize. And I'll put it this way. I know the opposition strategy, and I'm not saying that it's the opposition that is leading and perpetuating that. But I'm saying this, that they will first themselves try to engage in bribing you and try to get you on their side. They will then try to see how, if you didn't take the bribe, they start attacking you, right? And spreading all kind of malicious rumors and lies and so on you. Then they will take it up a notch. They will find means and ways to see how they could stifle you, right? They will find ways to try and prevent you from doing what you have to do. And then finally, I have said so because this is my belief, and listening to Mr. Kennedy Budlal speak about his experience of the past,
Right.
if they get a chance, they may want to kill you, right? And I have to say this because I think some people like to dance around the whole issue of what is taking place here. Let us not pretend, Junior. In Grenada today, we are seeing more advancements in the last 3.5 years, well, the last 2.5 years, sorry, or 3 years, than we have seen in a very long time. And so when people talk about the National Democratic Congress not helping, not doing anything, not saying anything, it is just totally malicious. And it is meant to deceive those who like to bring up this empty talk and try to make some case that there is something. So as PRO, I am saying this honestly and openly. If the public is concerned about any policy that the government of Grenada is engaged with as the administration in office, we can engage with you. We have people to speak with you. You have different reps in various constituencies. You have people that you can engage with. And if you see any evidence of wrongdoing, feel free to raise it legitimately. You don't have to engage in, trying to accuse people of doing wrong things and so on, just because you're trying to make them look bad, because you can't beat them on policy, you can't beat them on getting the work done, you can't beat them on ensuring that in the last 3 years, a lot have been going on for our country. So I want to start off in that way, Junior, to make the forceful call that the government of Grenada is not running a selfish shop. Right? So it's not, open sepulchre and so on. We ascribe to the rules of the public service, just like any other government have done in the past, right? And those who operated under the Constitution, with the exception of the PRG. So there is no issue. And even the PRG held itself to the standard of no corruption, right? So there is no issue as we see it where we feel so aggrieved. And if there is any issue, the Honorable Prime Minister would deal with it and will be truthful and frank to the nation. There is no issue that we have to be worried with, certainly in this regard. So I am saying that what we want to do is to encourage Grenadians to focus not on people and personality and people business, but to focus on how the policies that we are putting forward are going to affect us and our children to come. That's most important.
But let me be devil's advocate here. If the individual said that she has information of bribery or whatever information she has, the next step would be to take it to the Integrity Commission, file that process.
That's one step. Remember, you have the FIU, right? Then what I'm saying is the individual who is promoting this rumor has her platform where she could share actual information. They have been doing that. As I have said, they shared my personal driver's license. They share that around. They do all these other things in the past. So I'm saying, even if you say that you have the evidence and you're calling on XYZ to confess, I mean, where you ever hear that? If you have the evidence, show it to the world. Publish it. Show it. We need to see. Just as I have announced here with this Bokeh playing field thing. Because, Junior, some people going around and talking about bus stop and so on. They even know how the bus stop come about. Right. And I want to make this point. I don't mean to just stray a little, but to go back to your same point. Now, a particular individual goes around my constituency and only talking about my business all over the place, right? Whatever he is able to obtain, whether he's paying people or not to get it.
Did I say what saying?
Sorry, go ahead. I want to play that back, but go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, whether he's getting people or paying people to get information on me or whatever the thing is, I could care less about that. So those things do not intimidate me in any way, shape, or form. But that individual talks about the bus stop. I want to lay the facts out as it relates to that.
Yeah.
Now, how that place came about, and I'm not talking about the current situation now, right? That will be finished. We have no issues there with that. I personally, as the MP, has not instructed my community liaison officer to continue the project simply because we're engaged in other things and we have limited resources. The hurricane season is coming up, and therefore I don't want to be, in a sense, short on being able to go out and respond if we need to in an effective and efficient manner. So the community development budget is closely being monitored to ensure that this upcoming hurricane season, we'll have resources to respond. But in 2022, or 21, sorry, I was a sitting senator. I personally reached out to the then Minister of Infrastructure, who was Senator Norland Cox, to say to him, boss man, there are two things in my area, my community, that I would like to see fixed. I was an NDC. Nolan Cox was the NNP senator and minister of infrastructure. They looked at the situation. In fact, there was an accident right adjacent there where two vehicles consecutively, one person got injured as a result of that accident that took place there somewhere around 2021, 22, right? And after seeing that situation, we made the case. The road which allows me access up to my property, I also said to him that, please, this is an area that people use. Vehicles and trucks and so on can't go up this area if he can look into it. He did. They didn't do the work for whatever reason, but a contract was prepared before the elections. After the elections, while I was just learning the ropes as member of parliament, someone came to me to say, we want to start this work. And I personally intervened to say, do not do this. Do you want people to say, as I come into office, I try to fix the gap that takes me up to my road? I say, this is crazy, don't do this. So that's how I got involved, right? And eventually, the original person who got the contract walked away from the contract. For whatever reason, not my business. Somebody else who is a good steward in the community was the second in line based on bidding to get the contract. They then did the contract. In fact, I had asked them to stop way further down. They said to me that you are the minister, and therefore you need proper access to go home and to go and do your work for the people. And so the contractor took on his own and did an extra piece to come up to my property. That's how this issue was done. But you hear the gentleman, and I would use a nice phrase to describe him because I think, I'm not a guy to take things personally, talking about it and is posting that on social media. Junior, since he has been doing that, I have officially reported to the RGPF, so this can be corroborated. Someone came up and they stole from my vehicle dead in the night, somewhere around 2 o'clock. And this is the first time that a robbery took place. I'm saying I'm not the one to complain, but these things are happening, right? And so whenever we do things politically, because everything in Grenada today is political.
Yeah.
You wear short pants, the short pants have a hole, and DC kick him out. Yeah. You do something, is some politics. We have to get serious as a nation. And so there is no separating the discussion of these issues without looking at what transpired in the past and talking about what the National Democratic Congress government is doing now in the future to change these things. And so I say all of this and lay it out on the table so people understand what is going on. So when you see individuals going around and they talking people business and so on, whenever I campaign, Junior, no one can say that I came to them to say, don't vote for X, vote for Y. I don't operate like that. To each his own. In the past, people came to me personally with evidence and information of wrongdoing of my competitor. I chose to ignore it because I said I didn't come here to campaign on the weakness of my opponent. I am here to campaign on what I believe I should be doing for my constituency. And so that is the difference with the National Democratic Congress versus the other side. So I put all of this out there so that people understand what we are dealing with when we talk about these issues. And some people would say, don't talk about it, don't this, and so on. We need to speak about it.
Right.
Because the country went through a dark period with the revolution. Whatever transpired, I wasn't around. Everybody has their own views. Everybody has their own position. What I'm saying is lies and rumors can kill. And the question is, who is going to be the victim at the end of the day is what we need to get to. And lastly, on that specific note, I want to end because in the US, Minnesota in particular, you are seeing the situation there where a gunman assassinated a sitting official.
Yes.
Right? So when and again, based on the information, based on the evidence, that person had a bingo book and was going around and so on. Again, could be just operating on rumors. could be some politically motivated thing because it was being touted as that in the earlys. So I'm saying to people or individuals going around wanting to take public office, you have to be responsible. Let us debate on the merit. And the issue is that they cannot do so. I am challenging the opposition. If they are so confident that things bad in the country, let us organize an official debate and you come and present your evidence and let the public see the evidence that you have. And if it is something that could be corroborated, and let the government of Grenada put out the evidence and let us see if it is something that could be corroborated. And so that is how we should choose, not on hearsay and people business and so on. So I thought I just wanted to start on that and
Right.
make one point that these things have consequences.
All right, well, we open up the phone line, so of course folks could call in and share their views as well. We're speaking to Honorable Ron Redhead here. We got a caller on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead.
Yeah, good day, Mr. Redhead.
Greetings, sir.
Since you beat that man in election, that man have you in mind. He's just walking around the place and he's saying the people deserve better. All on Facebook, he put up thing. The people deserve better. They deserve better. He go in random cricket ground and he want to playing football in the train and playing that the ground don't do meet up to requirements. And I don't do in side Willis. How kind of thing he been saying about you? You know, I don't know if he could have do better. I don't know. He say he contested in the election, but the way he going on, the people on the ground they could see what is going on.
Yeah.
They could see the changes. All the way past you see, look, when you come down from over the hills by 1910 coming down, look how they're looking beautiful.
True.
Now what do you want to get?
True.
Man, walk, do what you have to do, and prepare the court your ass next election again. So have a good afternoon.
All right, thank you, caller.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your input. MP Redhead, folks are saying, well, if the allegation, again, sorry to go back to that.
Yeah, no problem. Sure.
But I want to play this back, right? We had this interaction last week where the person called in and admitted that they have facts to back up their claims. Now, my thing is this, and it's clear and it's simple. If there is any reports, hold on. Before I go on, let me take this to that call. Let me take it there. Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello?
Hi, caller. Good day. Where you calling us from?
Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead. Turn your background down a bit, caller.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
That's better?
Just mute it. Just mute it altogether because you could have a phone conversation. I don't want to hear the background. It would interrupt the flow.
Okay, you hear me better?
Yes, caller. I hear any better now. Go right ahead.
Okay, good afternoon to you, Junior, and Mr. Redhead.
Redhead.
Yeah.
Redhead.
I would like to say congratulations to the government on doing a wonderful job, and I would just like to encourage Mr. Redhead and the Prime Minister and his cabinet that we are moving forward. Stay focused. You will always hear the naysayers. You will always hear lies. You will always hear rumors. But I want them to remain focused. And we're taking Grenada forward. Grenada is doing great. We are in a great place. And let's just stay focused and forget the negatives because we do not want to be distracted. So stay focused and we're moving forward. Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you, caller. Yeah, so I was saying, if there's any allegations of corruption, I want to be able to break the news right here because whether it's this government, past government, next government, future government, it really hurts the smooth running of the country. A lot of money that could be allocated to schools and other things are going in somebody's pocket. Nobody wants that. But I always say that you have to come with facts to back up any claim, right? And I think we as media practitioners, we have a responsibility to do that. So we got a call last week, and I'll just share a piece of that interaction that we had on the program. Listen in. So do you have any
proof to show that
document?
it happened.
Okay, so
I
you
don't
don't
know
have.
where
So
y'all
hold on,
get
hold
this
on,
thing
hold on, hold on,
about a
hold on.
a bribery
Do you
contract.
have?
Well, hold on, let me
So
explain that.
no. So do you
I
have
don't
any
know where y'all
signed
get this.
document? Do you have any documents that would verify and validate that claim? Because if it's an underhanded deal where somebody is slapping someone money in the hand, they don't sign a contract to say, okay, well, I'm going to give you this.
That's my point. And I never said a contract was
So do
signed.
you have
I
any
never said a
document? So do you
contract
have
was
any
signed.
document to prove that this happened?
I do.
All right, all right. So there is somewhere, Honorable Ron, Redhead, information that persons believe is credible. Now there is a libel clause. I mean, if MP, um, uh, um, what's his name again?
Andy Williams? Yeah.
Andy Williams. Sorry. Yeah, if MP Andy Williams is in any way felt that that information is incorrect, invalid, and there's liable cause, you could take it to court. But I'm saying, why is that not something that the party and Andy Williams is taking further to quell all the noise?
I agree. But sometimes, Junior, you have to give people rope to hang themselves, right? Now, let me say this, that in Grenada, I do not believe, a small island, that we should be looking to make enemies out of lies and rumors. That is what it is meant to do, divide and conquer.
Right.
As the National Democratic Congress public relations officer, we are saying we want to institute a new type of politics which deals with the issues, which deals with policies and not people and personalities, right? In that context, and rumors and lies and so on. So confront the government on the issue of the efficiency of a policy or lack thereof, right? Let us talk about that, because that is what is most important. To say that, in a sense, there was some underhand deal, so therefore the project is not going forward because there was some underhand deal, or the project is not this because there was some underhand deal. I mean, get to the issue. And I'm saying, going back to your point, which you just showed there, show and provide the evidence. Why would you go through all of this? It's just like I was accused, for example, of doing something to Queen Show and all these other things. Absolutely false. And I have my evidence. That particular individual went on a program and say that I intervene and I fire this person or I do something and so on to the person, and it is not true. I'm saying I didn't sue her, because when you're dealing with the people's business, right, you have absolutely no time to spend focusing on these trivial things. That same individual accused Mr. Orlando Romaine of purchasing the Prairie property. When the information came out, not a word of apology. Because sometimes I said you have to teach people lessons. We don't need to go down that road. There's no need for this thing. Speak truth. Accuse people based on the lack of policies, because a public official is making a tremendous sacrifice, including him or her with their family, to be able to move a country forward. And small island developing states do not have it easy, because we are easily influenced by external factors. So the pressure of serving, the pressure of working is always going to be there. And should we spend our time going after political opponents and trying to create lifelong enemies and opponents against the Congress? Or should we spend our time building the country and building relationships with people and individuals to help move the country forward? That is a fundamental question, and we've been spending our time doing just that.
Right. We got a call on the line. Let's take the caller on the WhatsApp. Caller on the WhatsApp, go right ahead.
Well, blessings. Good evening.
Hey, good
so
evening.
much to all.
Yes, go right ahead.
I can't understand, as a citizen, how you do not want good for your country. Because to me, I see the opposition, all they're doing, they're walking up and down, up and down. I don't know what they're looking for. Is if it's something bad, they want, to me, they want bad thing to happen for them to say, well, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that, and this is how they're going. But I want the Prime Minister and his cabinet members Ron Westerhall in the house. I want you all to remain focused because Grenada is moving forward and we don't have time for no courthouse. You know what time we need to go in courthouse and NNP already. I said that waste money. I said that this. That ain't go no way. We ain't have time for that. Let it make the melee. Let it make the mischief and we're moving Grenada forward. Son, no turning back. Focus yourself. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you so much, caller. We got another caller on the line. Let's take this next caller. Caller, where are you calling us from? On the WhatsApp.
Hey, calling from Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead.
Yeah. Junior, I find this thing dragging along too much. I find you see, there are people who are going to look for distractions. You see, if you have there is places that you can bring evidence. You have the ombudsman, you have the DPP, you get a lawyer. Listen, and that is my humble opinion.
Okay.
The person casting the accusations is hurt. She's hurt, and she needs help.
Right. Okay.
But the briefcase, with the past prime minister, everybody said they had evidence. You know, a lot of people say they had evidence. We still waiting on the evidence today.
Right.
Do you understand? I mean, I find we go with this thing and we politicizing this thing and we giving some people too much airtime.
Okay.
Instead of we concentrating on what is going on in the country. I mean, look the transformation in the country. Look at what is going on. I don't believe in no Robin Hood government. I don't believe in that. But let me tell you something. No man is perfect. If you have facts and evidence that the minister did something wrong, take him to court.
Right.
Embarrass him in international avenues. Let all of us know who voted, because I voted, so I have a voice. I voted. So let us know that, you know what, we voted for the wrong person, because look, the man is a thief, and look at what the man do. But you come in and you only yap, and making all kind of, that time don't make sense. And these political distractors in them, they've been inside there for so long, and all of them had hidden agendas, and now they realize that the nastiness they used to get on with, they cannot get on with it no more. The underhanded tricks and envelopes and Junior, I have evidence, and when I say I have evidence that I could cut out of problems, and when I say evidence, I mean literal evidence. I have documents that I could cut out of problems because I personally worked with the former administration for years, and people who know me knows. But why would I do that? What sense would it make right now? First they go say, oh, you was there, and because you didn't get what you want, no, you're trying to play thing. And to me, that's what Jenny doing.
Okay.
Jenny was with the NEC. She was the head of the women's arm. She was flying high. But you know, when the dog have the bone and then look down in the water and he see the shadow and he realize the bone in the bone in the shadow looking bigger, she dropped it and she tried to grab the one in the water and she realized everything disappeared. So right now she's hurt.
Okay. She's
hurt. And she need help. I mean, I don't care if we have to do a drive to get a psychiatrist, a psychologist or something. Jenny needs therapy. She needs serious therapy. Ron, my brother, I've known you for years.
Yes.
I have known you for years. I've known you and Kevin walking around the whole of St. George. I remember when NDC was going through the drama and Ron, Kevin and Django was walking up and down. I could tell you thing about Ron.
Right.
I know Andy. I don't know him personally, but visiting hotspot now and then. I mean, hotspot is not too far from where I live in. And we had conversation. Now, I'm not saying the gentleman is blameless, because none of us is. He without sin cast the first stone.
Right.
But all I'm saying, if you have evidence and you have facts and you could prove that the gentleman did, call MTV, call GBN, call Ride Along, call my killer. I tell everybody and walk into the DPP office with the document and say, hey, this is the evidence. I need you to arrest, I need you to start investigation on the minister. If you cannot, then shut your mouth.
Okay.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's take a start call and then you could respond, MP. And then we'll go straight into the topic of the economy. This last call. Caller, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Grenada, Junior.
Grenada, go right ahead.
All right. It's funny, Minister Ron Redhead is speaking about the same slandering with officials that are sitting in government. And it's funny to me because just before the June 2022 elections, I heard Miss Modest on the To The Point program. She was speaking of the health clinic and it's lacking this, it's lacking that. But up to now, the minister who run for that, the now MP in the area, she never one day come on a platform and speak of the two female individuals who was fighting for the then minister of St. John's. And he even got a bottle in his head. And never one day heard she go on platform and speak about that. That's just to show the level of difference in how the NDC does things as towards the NNP. And furthermore, when they opened that polyclinic in St. John's, there wasn't a thing inside of it. It was just an election gimmick. And I heard Ms. Modest sitting saying that, look, the polyclinic didn't have this and he didn't have that. And they went so much to get this done and get that done, but it was just an election gimmick. And I think that as the UPRO, MP Redhead is doing a good job in terms of bringing up information. And what we would like to see moving forward is more into the communities, St. John's, etc., and showcase the projects. Maybe even GIS could do some more in that as well. And continue doing what you're doing. And as I said, there was independence. MP Redhead even went so far as to sponsor a lot of things in Northeast, including the food. And I will say that right here on air, that the same political leader and the same guy who's running him down for the bus stop came and eat in the crossroad, and they even put a dumpling in the pot. Anyways, enjoy your evening, Junior.
All right, okay, caller. What?
Yes. Again, the caller is absolutely correct, Junior. I did that. Right?
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go in next gear, third gear, right? The economy.
Yeah.
There were media reports, and not only media reports. It was put out by the government that there was a drop in CBI IMA fund in this quarter here. Explain it, because a lot of people are looking at it and like, okay, so what's happening now? What's the case with CBI IMA at this point?
Right. So IMA Junior. So let me just say this: that what is being reported in some instances, I don't want to say alternative facts because it's part of the 200 or so data points that the Ministry of Finance released as it relates to the first quarter of 2025. Now, in comparison or relation to 2024 and now 2025, the IMA, in terms of the revenues that it generated in 2024, is lower because there was the backlog in 2024 of the applicants, which when the revamping and the upgrading of the processing system of IMA was done, was able to process a great portion of applications, record-breaking. And so it yielded in a high rate of revenues from the IMA in 2024. Now, in comparison to 2025, those revenues, of course, will be down because the bulk of the backlog of applications is now processed.
Oh, I see.
More processed. And so what is clear, however, which is what we need to look at, is based on the targets set for 2025. The IMA is outperforming by over $7 million, right? And so what was projected was about 61 point something million dollars, and the IMA is performing to the tune of 69.7 or so million dollars. And so there's a difference of about 7 million or just over that. So the point is, based on this year's target, because the budget was done in the context of this year, based on this year, the IMA is outperforming slightly above than what was targeted for the first quarter. So it's doing well. It's performing based on what was projected. Because remember, budget is an estimate. It is not an actual prediction, but you hope to do X, Y, and Z and collect these funds, but it is now performing based on what we see better than what was targeted. So that's the situation with the IME. But I want to dive deeper into it so that people understand. Now, in 2024, that record-breaking year when we had to deal with the backlog, the IMA recorded significant revenues. Those significant revenues, not all of it. So by and large, the amount is gone into the consolidated fund. That's one, right? Right. I have the transformation fund and so on, which the government has legislated to be able to get that monies in there. That's two. And three, the former administration, in its negotiation during the structural adjustment program, agreed that should the IMA or CIP reach a particular level of revenues within that given year, they will pay a dividend to the creditors for that particular period. And so this was also done. So when you hear people say, well, we sell so much passport, we do this, where the money gone? These are what is happening. These are the instances that is happening with the money. Based on law, X percentage is being deposited in the transformation fund, X percentage is being deposited in the consolidated fund. And then X percentage, as last year in particular, because of the high rate of processing applications, we had to pay out a dividend, which was agreed by the former administration under the 3-year structural adjustment program. So where we sit with IMA, it is very lucrative, it is performing well, and in fact, the turnover time has now reduced closer to about 2 months because of some of the upgrades and changes that have been made with the online platform, which links all government stakeholders, all stakeholders necessary for the IME to function, including the RGPF, the Ministry of National Security, and IME, among others, to be able to do all the research on people applying, etc., and turn it over faster. So things have improved exponentially since 2023 on how we process applications. So you are seeing growth in the IME being able to perform well year in, year out.
You know, I'm listening to you now, and you as the PRO, you're very quick to respond to a lot of these things that's happening in real time. I saw you on a few programs over the week, and I see what's happening now. Was it a mistake in the past, like months ago, a year or so ago, to ignore and not respond to a lot of the stuff that would come up from the opposition?
Well, boy, my view on this is that, look, you know, we could always reflect on the past, but I think the most important thing is to see where we go forward. And you might be correct, because outgoing public relations officer, or my deputy public relations officer, Ambassador Orlando Romain, always works with me to share some of the deficiencies that we had in the past. He would always give me little tips as to probably how he may have dealt with something differently or should have dealt with something differently. So as a team, you know, we are working in that regard, and I benefit a great deal from some of the work that was done over the last 2 years.
Because we have election is constitutionally due in, say, in the next 2 years, but that's not even 2 years. It's a year. You can't even really count, as someone said on the panel yesterday. You can't even count the year after the campaign season straight.
Right.
So is the party structured in a way to defend and come up with strong candidates to break the curse, as they say, of the one-term NDC? Are you in a position, or are you placing yourself in a position to defend?
Well, I don't think we want to spend all our time defending. I think what we need to do is to take a tactical approach, which is to attack, defend when we need to, in a manner that we can be able to encourage the public to discern fact from fiction, and this so-called fake news from what is the actual situation. So, for example, as we continue the conversation around the economy, recently I saw an opposition purported report about the economy. And what that report is essentially saying is that in comparison to last year, revenues fell significantly. Now, Junior, we have to look into these things deeper and further. Do not just take, especially people who we know been around for a long time and just want to come back in power. They ain't caring about country. Do not take these things and make headlines out of it. In other words, that's my message that I would like to share with anyone who believes in their credibility and the credibility of information that they receive. Now, as it relates to revenues, Junior, what was projected was about $409 million by way of revenues. What is collected is about $401 million. So we are off. That's the truth. However, this is a deficit budget which we projected, and the deficit is not as a result of tax revenue falling short. And that should be of most concern. The deficit, or rather the drop in collections that we are seeing, is largely attributed to non-tax revenue. And that could be multiple other things, including service charges and things that are of small nature, but certainly would add up to the total. But where you have to be concerned from an economic standpoint is to, and Junior, I just want to briefly respond to this. The Willis Road is going to recommence shortly. It is costing taxpayers a whopping sum of $22 million to fix this road, which a whopping sum was already awarded to a previous contractor. In due course, the Ministry of Infrastructure is going to give the updates. What we are doing right now is to do the surveys so that the government can begin to operate and implement, rather, its constitutional responsibility to pay landowners for properties that it took up. The former administration engaged this contractor, paid monies repeatedly, and did not even have the courtesy to be able to first and foremost agree on how much land space of people's private property that would have been required to widen the road. So we had to go back and do all of this to be able to fix this project, right? So I understand the caller. I see his stories of the gods. I don't know if that's a real name or what, but that is the situation there with that. So we were talking about the economy now, Junior.
Yeah.
And as it relates to how we have been going about, the National Democratic Congress administration is on target with 2025 in terms of the budget parameters that we set. So I mentioned earlier on about the issue with revenue and non-tax revenue and tax revenues. So with tax revenues, which is where you would focus, that is performing well, and it is performing more than the target set, right? That's one. So we're down in non-tax revenue, but we're up in tax revenues based on what we set the targets. Two, expenditure is down where we said that it would be. And that's a good thing, because if you have a slight shortfall of revenue by about $8.8 million, and you are spending more than the targets, then you have a concern. But that is not the situation now. So expenditure is down, notwithstanding the slight downward trend of overall revenues. So that's a good thing. However, diving deeper, capital expenditure is up, and that's a good thing. So it deals with the construction work and so on. We said that we'd have spent about $120-something million by the first quarter. We have spent about $132-point-something million. I don't have the right figure in front of me, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But that is the amount at where we are at. And as an economist, people following the economy, you would want your capital budget to be performing well. And it speaks a little about the government's own implementation rate for the first quarter of 2025, right? It's good by way of projects. Capital projects help to spur economic activity, and that is the philosophy and principle of the economic situation in the context of Grenada. Now, the deficit. What is interesting is that by the first quarter, the target was to be about $24-point-something million.
Right.
We are only at about down by 2.9 thereabout or 7. I don't have the exact figures again, but I stand to be corrected on them. But anyhow, it's about $2 million down, which is a good thing. It is showing that notwithstanding that we have seen a reduction in non-tax revenue, notwithstanding that expenditure is slightly down, notwithstanding that expenditure for on the capital side is up, which is a good thing, but even the deficit is being managed so well within targets. So the economy, based on the target set for 2025, is performing well. 2024 was a different year. And therefore, if you're using that to compare tax revenues, it has to be placed into context as to what you projected for 2025 and what was projected in 2024 and what actually happened. You had Hurricane Beryl. So, of course, you are going to go in that sense with the deficit budget. And the deficit budget, again, has maybe about 5 factors which contributes to it. You have about 2 negative ones that can contribute to a deficit, and there are 2 positives. So, for example, if you have large expenditure for the upcoming period, but you ain't get you ain't sign a deal to get the resources, let's say the hospital as yet, and what you're doing is searching for that, you would record a deficit budget where your expenditure for the year is expected to be more than how much revenues that you get.
Right, yes.
It does not mean that you have a problem if your tax revenues is outperforming your targets. And that's the fundamental point that I need to make. And people themselves can go on live and research this on their own. Don't take my word only for it.
Right.
But I'm saying when people put out stuff, you have to dive deep into it and see what this thing is really about.
Right, absolutely. When it is all said and done, right, what will be the legacy, you believe, of this administration? What do you believe?
Right. I think we are not it's difficult to say that we have one single item. We campaigned on transformation,
right,
and so we want to be able to, on behalf of Grenadians, right, certainly in the second term, be able to really drive that point home on what transformation means in our own lexicon and how we believe as Grenadians we should define it in a 21st century time frame. And so for us, we believe what would be our legacy is defining the next 50 years of Grenada as of this date. So we celebrated 50 years last year. And the question is, as we chart the course forward, 51 and beyond, what type of Grenada do we seek? And what type of Grenada do we want to build? And that is what we would like people to accept from this administration, certainly when the deal is done. In my view, somebody has never reached their true peak until they have passed, right? So I believe this administration is alive and kicking, unlike others. And I believe that certainly we have a lot more to offer to Grenada. And therefore, I wouldn't want to select just one issue to say that is what we should be remembered for, because we just start 3 years in. And so we have a lot more work to do. And we believe we have a lot more things that we could be remembered for in time to come.
So based on the manifesto, is it a two-term manifesto? Are you satisfied that you have accomplished what you should accomplish at this point in time based on your manifesto that you won the election on, that mandate?
Right. So that is relative. So let me put that into perspective. Now, when we designed the manifesto never said that in 3 years we would achieve X, Y, Z or 100%. What we said and set out to achieve was that in our belief, these thematic areas, education, healthcare, the blue economy, among other areas, agriculture, sports, youth, these thematic areas would be used as the pillars or rather the document to guide what the administration is going to focus on by way of policy. That's one. Two, oftentimes when you are rolling out policy, there is a need, for example, to do pilots to test to see how things respond. So, for example, one pilot we are doing in order to fix the transportation issue in the country is that pilot project of providing school transportation for students. Right? It's being piloted in the parish of St. David and St. George. So the intention out of that is that we have these things listed in the manifesto, and we are doing taking the necessary steps. One, to test the policy, because it provides the opportunity to do that, and then implement the policy officially in a sustainable manner. So most times when you hear the government announcing pilot, what we are saying is that we are announcing the pilot so that we could be able to test the policy and see where the big areas are, and then implement it full time in a sustainable manner. So I would not say that we put deadlines to our manifesto, but what we did, Junior, was to provide to Grenadians the way forward in terms of how we believe we should build Grenada Carriacou Petit.
Okay. Yes, because again, when you look at the manifesto, and I'll come back to that, what percentage of that is on point or on target at this point in time? Yes, we talk about the paying back the paying pension, which was done. We talk about what I really love is for the creatives, right? I love that whole economy is really taking trend, and we're seeing a lot of movement where creative now could like myself, you could basically get deteriorated at the port when you're shipping down these items. I love that. The blue economy, all of those things. But what about the other items listed in the manifesto? How much percent do you think that you are at this point in time? Because
Right.
it's important. It will be important going back to the electorate and saying, okay, well, we have accomplished X, Y, Z in our
Yes.
first term, and so
Yes.
forth and so forth.
Yes.
Where are you with that?
So on the previous program that I was on Sunday, I think I gave a figure of about 75%. So I want to openly say that based on even the review that I completed Sunday after that program, I think we're closer to about 60%, right? To be fair, and I want to be honest and straightforward about that, because there is absolutely no way that we could achieve every single item in the manifesto within 3 years, much less the term.
Okay.
So I think maybe about 60%, barring that some of the initiatives have commenced, and therefore, due to external factors, you may find delays in some instances for implementing policies. But by and large, generally, we are on track as to what we need to achieve and what we said that we were going to set out to achieve. And as I mentioned earlier on, some of it will have to happen and commence in the second term of the National Democratic Congress administration, simply because these things take time. In some instances, 50 years ago, it was supposed to be done, and 50 years ago, it was not done. And therefore, 50 years later, we need to begin the process to do it. And it will take some time to get all of the stakeholders, resources, and so on mobilized to get us into the direction we need to go. That is the essential point.
Right. So the party is satisfied. 60% is satisfactory. It's to the point where it's a passing grade. It's further than, it's not 40%. So you're satisfied that you are on the right path to sell yourself back to the electorate whenever that election time is called. It's constitutionally due in 2 years, say 12 months.
Yeah.
And then after that, you go downhill from there. So you're satisfied.
Yeah, we are satisfied, but again, Junior, satisfied, yes. But should we be doing a lot more? Yes, we have to. And that's why we are pushing every day as a party and as a government to really lament the fact that this is not something just for the short term. And, even to our supporters, I would say this point, guys, you don't need to get nervous about us having to call election and we would lose, etc. This administration is steady focused on building Grenada. And what we ask for is your understanding and support. And if you need to criticize, feel free. In fact, I can say this openly, Junior. You remember the situation where they say I do all kind of same group of people say I do all kind of thing in Willis with some young man and bicycle and so on. And when this video came out, that killed the whole thing dead. I am someone who loves people and works with people. If I see an elder struggling on the side of the road, I don't need no camera to come and take out picture. I helping that man. It could be night, morning, whatever time I'm there. I helping that woman, helping whoever it is to get to safety and to get the job done. Last maybe 2 Thursdays back, somebody came to visit my office, and we had such a lovely conversation. I wouldn't call the name, I wouldn't say anything, but I'm saying this to say that notwithstanding people say all kind of nasty things about me, I still engage them because they're living in St. George Northeast. And that is the hallmark. If I have to say, we are trying desperately to change the mindset of how politics is in Grenada. I don't have to be hating somebody just because they criticize me. I'm a public official. I should be open to scrutiny. And if I did something wrong by way of policy, I am man enough to say, well, maybe they didn't like that, or maybe this wasn't the right way. We apologize. I don't have to hide that. But I'm saying this is the mindset and mantra that we need to be able to take us forward, not the one that like to engage in loose propaganda and talk and criticize and so on. We need to lift the conversation. You know, small minds discuss people. Great minds discuss ideas and where we need to take people. That's the difference.
I agree there, my brother. Listen, great conversation. You know what I mean? And I saw someone put there that I should get the NNP MPs next on Ride Along Live. Listen, this is an open platform. I keep saying this. The only thing I haven't done is hold a firearm to anybody here and put them sit down on a chair to speak with me.
Well, I would make the open call for you, Junior. I am saying this as the PRO of the NDC. I'm calling on the PRO of the NNP. When we used to go around in Youth for Change, he was involved with us. And so, my brother Kitaka, I have no issues with you personally. I think we need to debate these things and we need to lay the facts to the people. I think we owe it to the people.
Yes.
The NDC and the NNP are the two longest serving political parties in Grenada's history and has had the most opportunities post-revolution and post the era of Sir Eric Matugeri to be able to discuss and articulate and hold ourselves accountable to people. And whether it is your platform, Junior, or whatever platform through the media officially, let us debate, let us discuss issues, and don't hide behind fake pages, don't hide on social media and post all kind of derogatory things about people and believe that their families are going to support you and their friends are going to support you because you're running people. What we need to do is to come together openly and account to people. What have we done for the last 40 or so years as political parties, and how do we believe we need to go forward for the next 50 years?
Yeah, well, you made the call. Hey, I just facilitated the conversation. The other day I was, and I had to call Mr. George Warm,
Right.
I am the facilitator of conversation. I speak to everybody. Even people that don't like me, don't agree with me, and say the worst thing about me, I still talk to them. I have no, I am like water. I am clear. I have no gripes with nobody. But obviously people have gripes with me. So George Warm put me on the front page of the paper. I'm like, what am I doing there? Like, was there a space that nobody else could have filled? I have no right being there. I am just a facilitator of conversation. I don't want to see my face on the front page of no newspaper. I don't need to be there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just like how I'm being respectful to you in this conversation, Honorable Redhead, I govern myself that same way. And you was in New York, and you see how we do things, right? So you was over by Lois JJ, and she was packing a whole set of items, right?
Yes.
There is no yellow, green, purple on those items.
No.
When we give to Grenada.
Exactly.
Over the years, we have been giving business grants. Us, right along, be giving business grants, $1,000 US or more, right? We did that for a couple of years. And there was no instant that we asked anyone to say whether you're yellow, pink, green, whatever. No, that is not how we operate. So we have respect because we are Grenadian first. So I want people to forget about this politics thing. I like to have conversation. I like to facilitate conversation. And I will facilitate that conversation with anyone and give the full level of respect.
And you know, Junior, you're totally correct. And you know, one person I admire, at least in my time, in terms of journalism, is Kalistra Faria. I'll tell you why I admire her. Miss Faria would ask me very tough questions.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean anything by it, but if you are a public official, you need to be given the opportunity to respond to tough questions.
Yeah.
This is not a walk in the park. So when I hear some people talking only where they are comfortable and so on, you know, I go on all different platforms. I don't care who it is. In fact, in the past, during the election campaign, I used to call, I won't call the name, them people up in the north.
Right. Oh, Lord have mercy.
and I call the programs on the elections. I have asked the hosts to provide me an opportunity. I want to come on your platform and talk. He tell me, nah. He said, nah. Every he call me, he say, yeah, thing, and so on. But, you know, that's the kind of person I am. I like to bring people together. You see, whenever we have disasters and so on in my constituency, I don't have time for yellow and green. When the election call, I'm a yellow man. Yellow is cool.
Right.
When I am serving in my capacity as member of parliament, I want to bring all people together.
Absolutely.
So if caller mentioned that I sponsor the food, the oil down up in Willis.
Yeah.
Right.
And I hear the man is more dumpling than you.
And the others go, they make video out of it, they film a movie.
What? All that?
Well, I don't say nothing because I'm saying, Junior, I really don't have time for that. They are
Right.
human beings too, they are Grenadians. The fact of the matter is, I'm saying this, that I like to bring people together.
Yeah.
I do not see the need to taking things so personal to the extent where you have to go and spread lies on individuals, where you
Yeah.
have to go and pretend that somebody doing something and you know it's not true. Every day, left, right, and center, you have a page, only a set of things and nasty things about me and about other ministers of government, etc. Guys, we have to move past that. We need to elevate the conversation. And I dare say, again, I am making the call to Kitaka. He's a young man that I am cool with. At least I don't know about now, since he dropped party lines. But I've always been cool with him. I have seen some of his work in the past. He's a good soul. But I'm saying, notwithstanding that you're the NNP's PRO, mean that you have to do look at me and so on. Brother, we're all Grenadians, right?
Yeah.
You in the days of going up to Mama Kian when I would watch cricket and so on up by that pasture and so on, let's come and debate. So if you believe your party, the New National Party, is the right party, come and let me say why I think the National Democratic Congress right now certainly is the right organization to move Grenada forward. So let's have that discussion and debate. And Junior, I want to commend you for trying to facilitate that.
Let me tell you something, and I think that is such a good idea. And Right Along should be the platform, because you know why? I think that there are other platforms, but I see that other platform. First of all, they don't have the reach, and I'll boost up my chest. My producer works very hard, and I have to give it up to her. Yeah. We have expanded in territories unimaginable, like people in Africa. And there are very few times that you see we do a program, even if we're not talking about Grenadian content or Grenadian politics or nothing for that matter. We might be doing something about Guyana or St. Lucia or St. Vincent. The same energy is there. So we have the same representation straight across. Yeah. All the way up in Ghana. I was in Ghana and people taking pictures with me up by the on the street. So our platform is the largest, and I ain't holding my mouth to say it. If they want the views, if they want the reach, is Right Along as the platform. So we want it to happen right here, and it will be very fair, straight to the point. Let's have this conversation. I'll be happy to facilitate that.
Yeah. Well, I'll use my political influence to work with them.
Let's make it happen. But thank you so much, Honorable Ron Redhead. And as we say, if there's something out there and I pop up with something and there's something to do with you, I will put it out there, whether you like it or not. This is the platform, or we put it out there. We don't hold anything. This is our media platform. It's something of conspiracy. I put in all the evidence and I'm putting it out there and I'm blasting it out there, let the millions of people see it. And that's how we operate. We bring the evidence, we bring the truth. And if we had to take it to the Integrity Commission because we want to protect our nation purse, we're going to do that as well. All right? So no favoritism exists on this side of the platform here. Thank you so much again, sir.
Yes, sir.
Chatting, all right? All right. Yeah, guys, so this is Right Along Live. I want to thank and big up our producer, Lois JJ. As I said earlier, she's a person who worked extremely hard to ensure that we keep this platform the level always growing. When other platforms are only and always talking about politics, we somehow find a way to bridge the gap not only in the political conversation, but everything else. And we really appreciate the hard work and dedication of our Lois JJ. You guys need to give her a big thumbs up for that. She's always on the ball. She's always working. I'm just the mouthpiece, guys. She does the hard work, all right? Let's just put it like that. Let's give Jackie it. She does the hard work, and I just get to facilitate, all right? So, big up to Lois JJ for always doing a great job with the platform. Also, guys, I want to tell you that we are partnering, Ride Along Live is partnering with Ride Excursions and Tours, and we have a Monday night mass like you never experienced before. Like people are meeting me in the street and they say, well, what exactly are you saying? Are you saying that you're actually doing like a Monday night mass and you're putting it on a boat? I said, yeah. But how is that going to work? What do you mean putting a Monday night mass on a boat? I said, listen. Amazing Colors is one of the premier Monday night mass band in Grenada, bar none. But we always like to do things differently. So this time, when everybody parading down the road, we're going to be where? On the water. We're going to be where? On the water. And we're going to be on the water on the Esther Sea. Yeah, we're going to be on the Esther Sea boat. But listen, the same experience, because you're going to have your glow stick, all your glow items on the water. So that's where we're going to be, guys. Monday Night Mass on the water, on Esther Sea. Your packages will be available soon. You get that package and your party on the boat. So you're going on the road, It's same. They're going on the road, but we're going on the water. Yeah, we're going down the water. All right? Packages on sale soon. Soon, like full moon. And it's very, very limited. Very, very limited, guys. Very, very limited. Want you guys to get those packages. I think tomorrow we're going to put it on sale, guys. Listen, and when I put it on sale tomorrow, I don't want all you to walk. I want all you to run, jump, hop and skip. Just get your packages quick as soon as you drop, okay? Don't say I didn't tell you. This is a brand new concept, Monday Night Mass on the water. Also, guys, we are going to Carriacou this weekend. We are going to Carriacou because, listen, our lovely supporters, fan base, riders in Carriacou have been always saying, how come you don't bring Tuk Tuk in Carriacou? So we decided to bring Tuk Tuk to Carriacou. So this weekend, we're going to be there in Carriacou from Friday. So we want you guys to book your Tuk Tuk tour. There is so much to see in Carriacou. We want to take you guys on all of the different trails, show you some views, and just show you the place really nice on our Tuk Tuk, all right? If you want to be a part of our Tuk Tuk tour in Carriacou, what you do, you inbox me. Inbox Ride Along Live right now because we only have limited space. So if you're going to be in Carriacou, or if you're in Carriacou and you want to be a part of the tours, we have about 7 tours lined up. And we have about 5 more tours remaining because a lot of them don't book out and sold out already, all right? So we're going to be in Carriacou with the Tuk Tuks. And there's so much to see in Carriacou. And this is a way as well as we supporting the development in Carriacou. We're stopping in shops, we're buying stuff, right? We're buying stuff. We are supporting the economy. We see vendors going by the market, we're buying stuff. Right? That's what it's all about. It's all about building and supporting. So we want people to make their way up to Carriacou. If you ain't get your ticket yet, I want you to check Kem Jones, because Kem Jones have ticket. Kem Jones going up to Carriacou. So Kem Jones, my brother, he has tickets. I heard he said he have about 12 more tickets. You don't have a lot more, but Carriacou is we're going to be this weekend, okay? And we're going to be there all weekend up in Carriacou. If you need more information, you call this number 473-422-1011. We have limited space for the Tuk Tuk excursion. And I tell you, we go into the shops, we buying all the shops. We're going into the restaurant, we buying all the restaurant. We spending money in Carriacou, okay? You get me? You get me? You feel me? All right? And I want to get on the boat, get on the plane. Carriacou this weekend. That's where we're going. Carriacou. We're going by Kim the King shop and we buying all the place. We buying all the place. Kim, stock up. In fact, I think we're going to start by Kim. So before anything else, we're going by Kim and we buying out everything there. Going in Harveyville, we buying everywhere. Tuk Tuk Tour in Carriacou, the first of its kind. First of its kind Tuk Tuk Tour in Carriacou, guys. It's really amazing. We're going to get some e-bikes up there as well. So we have some e-bikes, we have some tuk-tuks. And you know, somebody said we should bring the water bikes in Carriacou. You guys want the water bikes in Carriacou? If you guys want the water bikes, so we can have some water bike excursion on Paradise Beach, that would be cool. That would be nice. That would be nice. Let me think about that. Let me think about the logistics of that. Yeah. But definitely the Tuk Tuk Tour in Carriacou. If you don't have your tickets yet, you want you to call Kem Jones. Inbox Kem. You guys know Kem. Everybody know Kem number. Call Kem and ask him for a ticket. The man locked down both of the Ospreys. Like, he lock it down. Right? So, jump on the boat. And as soon as you get off, if you want us to pick you up of the port, we can pick you up too. If you want your individual personalized tour, you can get that too. You want your night excursion tour. You want to have a late Father's Day tour. Everything. Carriacou is the code. This weekend, we there. Peace out, guys. We'll be right back. Don't move.
Looking for the ultimate island experience? Hop on the Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tour and explore Grenada like never before. Feel the tropical breeze, sip on authentic Caribbean rum punch, and cruise through Grenada's stunning scenery in our unique and fun tuk-tuks. It's the perfect blend of adventure and island flavor. Book your unforgettable tour now at ride.gd or call 473-422-1011. Don't just see Grenada, experience it with Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tours today.
Are you a progressive young leader, a proactive emerging executive, a rising professional? Then you need appropriate cover for your vehicle. Introducing the Pro Motor Plan from Beacon. Car insurance that includes free loss of use, windscreen cover up to $3,500, free special perils, free accident forgiveness. Get Beacon's Pro Motor Plan today. Don't procrastinate. Call Beacon today at 440-4447 or visit beacongrenada.com.
What if you had a choice? A choice of joining a line or a choice of making your purchases online? What would you choose? While you ponder on that, the National Lotteries Authority has provided another purchasing option. All their games are now available online. Yes, Grenadians! From wherever you are, purchase your favorite daily and jackpot type games using any electronic device. Register on the NLA's website at www.nla.gd. Top up your account and enjoy online lottery gaming at your convenience. We're taking shopping comfort up several notches. But the choice is yours. Join a line or buy online. NLA, make your dreams come true.
Hi, I want $10 on Playway, $20 backup on Pick 3, and cash for each, please.
Okay, are you adding multi-X to your bet?
Yes, multi-X, all of them.
Smart! Best value bet. Backup and multi-X. You cannot go wrong.
Don't matter the bet, multi-X all of the daily games.
With multi-X added, your winnings can be multiplied 3 times, 5 times, even 7 times. So make it a rule. Add multi-X to all your Playway, daily Pick 3, and daily cash for bets every day and for every drop, and watch your money grow. Available at stores and online.
You heard it here. Multiply your winnings daily. Must be 18 or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true. Calling the CARICOM community, assembling global Africa, the 4th edition of the Afri-Caribbean Trade Investment Forum. Active 2025 is coming to St. George, Grenada, this 28th to 29th July. Join government and business leaders, investors, and trade and finance institutions to explore the theme, Resilience and Transformation. Enhancing Africa-Caribbean economic cooperation in an era of global uncertainty. Be there as we stand together to strengthen our commercial ties, to promote shared trade and investment opportunities, and unlock prosperity for Africa, the Caribbean, and the wider diaspora. The 4th Afri-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum. Reserve your place now at active2025.com.
Yeah, Afri-Caribbean Trade Investment Program. Listen, don't bypass this. This is amazing. It's going to be in St. George, Grenada. And I'm telling you guys, this is going to be amazing for the entire region. You see that synergy between Africa and the Caribbean is something that really needs to be tapped into for many moons ago. Because I've been to Africa and I know and I've seen the amount of influence that Africa has, the magnitude, the power. And this is exactly what we need exactly at this point in time. Resources that's in Africa that we could benefit from here. We don't have to go to them other countries that are cutting style and calling us S-hole countries and all. No, we don't have to go to that. Africa, and that's why I'm excited about this Afri-Caribbean investment program. It is something that you guys have to pay attention to. If you need more information on that, the flyer is on the page. All right? It's going to be big. Again, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for making us number one, your number one source of information, news, update, vlog, conversation, you name it. We are number one, not by design. We're serious about what we do. We don't play. All right? Thank you so much. Keep watching, keep sharing, keep loving the program. Good night, and good night to our senior executive producer, Lois JJ. Always working hard, always there. Thanks again. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Mañana.
Ride along live worldwide. Feel the beat, feel the vibe. Amazing host leading the ride. Power to the people, we shine. Giving fans what they need. Caribbean spirit, let's succeed. Every show with a good deed. Together we plant the seed. Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the host we belong. Energy high, heart so bright. Tune in, feel the light. Global love taking flight. Every ride a sheer delight. Making waves across the seas. Love and joy in the breeze. Ride along live if you please. Bringing hope with such ease. Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the hope